Have you ever let your age hold you back in love and relationships and sexuality? Something that I see often is when women are approaching 30 or even in their mid 30s, like I am, they tend to get into this realm of thinking, if they are single, that it's too late for them. If they're in that it's too late for them to get into a relationship with someone that would even want to be with them. And if they are in a relationship, sometimes the aging piece comes up with having like anxiety about if their partner is still going to be attracted to them. Sometimes things come up with like misconceptions on like changes in the body and that certain things like not being able to be turned on for your partner is just a normal thing about turning 30 and above. That's something that I used to think. And really, it's just there are so many misconceptions about aging and about being a woman in general. We are taught to feel bad about aging in our society, and I just want to casually have a conversation about that with you today, just in case this is something that you are currently struggling with. Welcome to Worthy of Love, the podcast for ambitious, self-aware women who desire to deeply connect to healthy love. Whether you're single or in a relationship already, this show is here to help you slow down, reconnect with your body, and to help you realize that you are capable and worthy of cultivating and maintaining healthy love, even if you have a history of toxic relationships. I am your host, Celia Antonio. I'm a certified relationship coach and a certified female sexuality coach, and I am so grateful that you are here. Now let's get into the show. I don't see enough women talking about this topic when they are in their late 20s and turning 30 or even in their mid 30s. I feel like I see a lot of women talking about this topic when they are approaching 40 and 50 and six and the later years. So I'm going to more specifically talk to like turning 30 and being in your mid 30s, but if you're older than that, you probably will still get something out of this. The unique thing about that I think what I think is unique about being in my mid 30s right now is that for me and for a lot of my friends, this is the first time in our life where we start to see in the mirror evidence that we are no longer in our 20s. We start to see things that, like, we start to see that our skin is a little different. For me, you can't really see it on camera because I just washed my hair, so my hair's wet, but I am starting to get gray hairs. I have like 3 gray hairs that are sprouting like right on the top of my head. And I have more wrinkles now and I need more moisturizer on my face. Like my face is a lot more drier than it used to be. And I feel good about aging, and if I said it was easy, I would be lying because it is hard. It is tough to see those changes. But what I want to offer you today, in case you feel in case you feel like you're going to be just kind of like discarded and that you're not worthy of love anymore because you're quote unquote old. First and foremost, if you're in that age group of like 30 or 35, like somewhere around that age, this is the youngest you will ever be. This moment right now, every present moment, every single present moment is always the youngest you will be. And there's nothing like you can't freeze time. There's nothing you can do about like you can't I think it's very unhealthy to really grip onto our youth I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking care of yourself in a way that, you know, you can look more, you can look you can look a certain way that like makes you feel confident when you look in a mirror. But that's completely different from like clinging on to being young. And it's also very different to like do that self-care stuff and to do it from a place of getting some sort of self-worth out of it and doing it from a place of like getting external validation. So if you can't stop it from happening, you might as well find a way to surrender. And how do you surrender? You take the time to really notice how aging makes you feel. Take the time to really pause and get honest with yourself. How does this make me feel? And really feel and process these emotions. And the fear of aging, it really boils down to the fear of death, essentially. We're starting to like face our own mortality. And what I think is so cool about the fear of death is when you work with your fear of death, when you really sit in meditation and make some space to accept the fact that you will one day die, that this whole experience in your body is temporary, that all of this will one day come to an end and you never know when that day will be. If you really feel the resistance that comes up and not just like sit and imagine it, if you really truly feel everything that comes up, you start to really create space for gratitude of being alive, gratitude for your body and everything that it does for you, gratitude for your state of health, and just the gratitude for having this day right now. And you stop settling because if one day it will all come to an end, what is the point of being scared to do things that you love? Like, why not just go for it if you will be gone one day and if you never know when that day will come? And also aging. So what's very unique about aging from the perspective of a woman is that we live in a society that's very patriarchal and that teaches us that the archetype of maidenhood, which is, you know, like a young girl and even like being in your 20s, that I would consider that maidenhood as well. That our society pushes that archetype is the only archetype that is worthy, the only archetype that is sexy, the only archetype that like deserves attention. And what I think is so ironic about that is that that maiden archetype, when we are in that chapter of being that young girl and being in our 20s, we've kind of like barely existed on this planet. We're still learning how to be adults and we're so naive and vulnerable. And it kind of makes me wonder like, that is very interesting. Um, that is, it sounds very like messed up if you really think about it, that like there's this box that we are told to fit in. And included in that box is like this naivety, this like lack of being able to speak up for ourselves, this like lack of self-esteem. And that's, you know, that's kind of a generalization, but like if you paid attention to a lot of the conversations around aging that exist online, there's a lot of them for women who are like in midlife, like 40 and above. A lot of them say that when you're older, you speak up more, you have more confidence, you give less fucks. And it's very interesting that that archetype of being in that phase of life where you are not a maiden anymore, where you're like moving towards your like wise woman years, your crone years. It's interesting that that would be set aside and that that coincides with women being like more confident and outspoken. So, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say here that every single day you get to be alive is a gift. Every single day that you are awake, you open two gifts, and those are your eyes. If you have both of your eyes, maybe you just have one. Maybe you don't have any, but you're breathing. If you're alive, I know that you are breathing and that your heart is beating, and that is a gift in and of itself. And anything else is a cherry on top. And sometimes when we get really caught up in how it is that we look because of our age, I think it can be very helpful to zoom out of that personal perspective and to really notice what a precious thing it is that we even exist in the first place. If you would like to watch the full video recording of this episode, go ahead and check out the link to join my podcast email list, where you will get access to all of the videos on this podcast a full day before the episode is live.